Hi, everyone. I'm Mandy-Lynn Donovan, and I'm your host of Port City Personalities here in St. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching us tonight. I'm very, very excited. Our first guest for the first little bit will be joined by Katelyn. Katelyn will be talking about her business that she's opened up on Westmoreland Road, specifically concentrating in lash and eyebrow tinting. Katelyn will be talking about what it's been like opening a business during the pre/post-pandemic stages and how you can go ahead and book her if you're interested in those services. Secondly, we'll be joined by Jaclyn. Jaclyn is a musician and she has a few albums under her belt already. She will be talking about what it's been like also working during the pandemic, upcoming shows that you can go ahead and see her at. She'll also be talking about her newest album, which we're really, really excited about. So we'll be hearing about how she got her writing, where she was, what she was inspired from. And we'll also be learning a little bit more about Jaclyn behind the scenes and where she's able to basically how she can create, where she gets her artistic vibe from, and also how you can go ahead and use and listen to some of her songs. Let's get started. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about today's guest. You're joining us here in St. Awesome, two of my favorite ladies right now. We're going to have a great conversation today, talking about some really, really cool stuff. Let's start off with my first guest. Jaclyn, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Reinhart, and I'm a roots rock Americana artist who lives in St. John, and songwriter, singer, and Jacqueline of all trades, I guess.
I do like that. Thank you so much. And I've known you for a while, so I'm super, super happy to for us to have a discussion again and be able to talk again. So this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, you've been up to a lot, and I can't wait to talk about it. My next guest, Katelyn, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, so I'm Katelyn. I own Lash Beauty Bar, so I'm a lash and brow technician. I do lashes and permanent makeup brows and all that beauty stuff.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start off with that then, Katelyn. Katelyn, how long have you been doing this? Where are you located?
So I'm located on Westmoreland, 156 Westmoreland, inside A Plus Beauty. I've been doing this now for, I believe it's about a year. A year will be in July.
A year in July. So you started right during COVID times. How was that? Talk me through the transition of that.
Oh, it was crazy. It's definitely one of the hardest things I've done. Having to, stop working and just completely go full-fledged into my own business. There was a long period where I wasn't making any money, where all my money was going to products and it was definitely a journey.
And so for those who don't know you, I know that you started in a different career path and then you got led here because you and I were talking one day about transitioning. Talk to me about where you started and how you ended up here, because I think it's just so fascinating.
So I actually went to school. I went to dental school. I was going to be a dental hygienist. I did that I was really close to graduating. Actually, I only had about 2 months left, and it just honestly, it just wasn't for me. I don't know. I think I wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted to have my own hours. The 9 to 5 isn't for me. I don't like mornings. I'm a cranky morning person.
That's fair. That's fair. Thank you for that. And talk me through what it is that you do on a daily basis. So I know you and I had this discussion that helping folks feel good about themselves and to be able to reach the maximum potential of what they'd like to see and do, taking a vision, making it come to life. Talk me through that process. Why is this important to you?
So yeah, I just want other people to feel good about themselves. With lashes, number one, people who don't have much lashes, they don't feel very confident. When you get lashes done, it feels like you are taking a huge part off your morning routine. You feel like you're just ready to go. You feel great about yourself. The brows, I love the new that I just started, the permanent brows. I love that because I have been doing it on people who have been really insecure because they don't have any brow and they've been just drawing it on, or people, cancer patients who have lost their hair. I've been reaching out to some cancer patients and offering them some free services to enhance their brows after, going through dealing with such a crazy time. And, you start to feel crappy about yourself. You're losing all your hair, and it kind of just a little way to make yourself feel better.
Absolutely. And talk me through that process. What does it mean, do someone's brows? What's it called? And what does that aesthetic look like?
It's called nanoblading. So I do nanoblading. It's also powder brow. So it's basically a tattoo on your face. And yeah, you come in with I always get my clients to come in with how they like to do their brows. I want you to come in, draw your brows on what you like. And then going from there, I will create a brow shape. I'll draw a brow shape on what I think is best for your face shape. And then really the whole appointment is between me and the client discussing and finding out the perfect brow for them. Once we achieve that, then I tattoo it on. And from there is a 6 to 8 week touch up. After that, then it lasts about 3 to 5 years.
Okay, perfect. And talk me through the lashes. What does that mean? And what are the services?
So for lashes, I offer lash extensions and lash lift and tint. Lash lift and tint is essentially a perm for your eyelashes. So I would basically pull your eyelashes up, perm them that way, and tint them dark black. So it kind of looks like you have mascara on and you curled your lashes. And that lasts for about 2 months. And then I also do lash extensions, and the lash extensions, they're individual lashes that I glue on to your natural lashes.
And how long is that process?
So that process takes me, it depends on what types. I offer classic, hybrid, and volume. Classic is individual lashes. Hybrid is anywhere from like 6 to 18 lashes, and they're fanned out. And then, or that was volume, sorry. And then hybrid is a 50-50 mix between the two. So it can take anywhere for a full set between 2 to 4 hours.
2 to 4 hours. Wow, that's incredible. And just by doing something like adding eyelashes or changing them, that can change a person's whole look. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I have people, they would come in and they've never had lashes done before, and they're like, I want volume. And I'm like, let's start with classic, see how you like that. And then they'll get the classic, they'll open their eyes and be like, oh my God, thank God I started with classic, because it's such a difference. You go right to volume with no lashes, you're going to be like it's a big difference.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now talk me through one of your favorite success stories. I know there's many, but talk me through one of your favorite success stories, where I suppose, Katelyn, where you thought, I love doing what I do, and this is why.
Probably I would have to say, honestly, would be my mom. Like I did her, she's part of the overplucking generation, and she has no brows, and she's gonna kill me for saying this, but she would take her eyeshadow and just her eyeshadow brush that comes with the eyeshadow and just draw a brow on. And every day I couldn't stand to look at it anymore. So I was like, please, Mom, let me fix these. So she went from having literally nothing at all to now she loves her brows. She gets compliments everywhere she goes, and it makes her feel so much more confident.
Oh, absolutely. Adding confidence is something. So talk me through what it's like being a small business owner in St. John, where you're starting up. You said, I want to be my own boss. This is something that I want to make a difference in folks' lives. Being a small, talk me through challenges and gains. Talk me through both of those.
So it's definitely been a lot of challenges. With opening a small business and owning a small business, it's really, instead of working, your 9 to 5 and you go home and do what you're doing, you're working 24/7. Like when I'm not at work, I'm at home and I'm posting online, or I'm messaging clients, and I have my phone going off 24/7. It was really difficult trying to, in the middle of the pandemic, trying to open a business. Where first off, they were kind of limiting us to like, you can't take people unless they're vaccinated. So I had that whole group of people that I wasn't able to take. So I was losing that income from that group of people. And then when we got shut down a few times, and during that period, because my business was so new, I wasn't eligible for any COVID relief. So I wasn't making any money, and it was definitely really, really difficult to stay afloat. But I've gone on a year, and I'm doing good now, and I love it.
And you're so positive all the time. I have to say, I think attitude's everything. And you and I have talked about this before. And talk to me, how do you keep your positive attitude? Why do you do what you do, and what gives you your drive each day, Katelyn?
Honestly, you know what, I actually used to be like a really shy person and have a lot of anxiety, and forcing myself to come in meeting new people every day has been amazing. I love it. It kind of gives me a new confidence, and I love it. I'm going in every day. I'm talking with these girls, and they become like they're my friends now, and they come in, they tell me all about their lives, and it's really nice. I really like it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And Katelyn, just before you drop off, thank you so much for your time today. How can people get a hold of you if they want to look at getting any kind of the services that we talked about?
So you can find me on Facebook and on anywhere on the internet. It's Lash Beauty Bar St. John. You can also call me at 721-6770. And I'm located inside A Plus Beauty, so you can find me there.
Jaclyn, thank you so much. So let's start from the beginning. What got you into music? When did you get started?
All right. Well, really, I grew up in a really small town, not even a town. It's like a community. We didn't have a mayor or anything like that. And I guess I would have to say like church really was the thing that started it, singing, during Christmas and different events and things like that. And we'd have like little talent shows, but like not a lot. Like I was a really, really, really like, I want to say I wasn't totally shy, but like I would talk your ear off, but like I didn't want to I didn't really feel comfortable singing and stuff like that. And so it wasn't until I was more in my late teens, early 20s that I learned how to play guitar. And then all of a sudden it was like once I learned how to play guitar, I realized that I could write my own songs, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And so I call myself a late bloomer, to be honest.
Absolutely. And so when did you realize you could sing? Like there's folks that say I can sing and they can't sing, or they can sing in the shower. When did you realize, hey, I got a voice, I might be onto something here?
So, to be quite honest, I feel like it was like I had a friend who I didn't go to university, but I used to do the university partying, and I was playing guitar, just jamming with people in the living room. And he came in and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I thought that was a CD. I didn't know that was you." And that was the moment that I was like, maybe there's something here. Like that was one of the nicest compliments that I had ever got. And then maybe my ego just started from there. I'm like,
That's fair. And talk me through. So when did you first pick up the guitar and start playing?
I was 19. And my friend Mel showed me a few chords, and I think we learned Ahead by a Century or something. But like I didn't know like the fancy guitar part, like the do 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 do. I just like played the chords, and so I've been doing it like that for a really long time. And yeah, so just started doing that. And I don't want to age myself too much here, but it was like back when you still had like dial up, and I'd like go on the internet and I would find all the chords. So I was really fairly self-taught, to be honest, and yeah, and I learned how to strum chords from there.
Okay. And then talk me through the songwriting process. So for you, and we'll get into the music and your albums, but talk me through the writing process for you. Was it like some folks, they do the chords, then the music? Do you do the music, or do you start a lyric somewhere and then you're like, oh, I know a chord for this? Like, talk me through your process.
Oh man, I wish that I had a process. I think that's part of being a creative. Now, there are times where I'm very intentional about it, but in the beginning, it was really so organic. It was like the minute that I realized that I had a thought and I could put a melody to it, and then sometimes it would be like me playing guitar and I'd be like, oh, I really like the pattern of these chords or whatever. And then I would just, so for example, one of the very first songs that I wrote, and I ended up putting it on my first album, actually.
Wow.
And my daughter, so when she was 2, we were like, I was just playing guitar, going around the house, and she was like crawling around, and she like picked up a penny and she was like trying to put it in her mouth. And I was playing guitar and I was like, oh, stop, take it out. You can't put that in your mouth. And I was just like playing around, right? But I was like, oh, that's a kind of a cool melody. And then it turned out to be a song called I Know a Girl. And I put it on my first record. So like that was just like completely unplanned and sporadic and whatever. And then there's other times now that I've, like there was a point where everything was just, how do I say this? It was just pure enjoyment at first. Like there was no idea of being a professional. I was just like, I really like playing music. I really like writing songs. I'd write them. I would like, show them to friends and stuff. And then writing became something that I became more intentional about. So then it was sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to write a song or write a song about this. And then, of course, when you move into things like later on where I got into co-writing sessions, it's like, here's the theme and this is what we're doing. And you know what I mean? So it's really all over the board. And that's the beauty of it, is that like, there's not really, it's like cooking, not baking. Like you can make a stir fry and put whatever you want into it. It's not like baking. Like you can't, like if you just, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it.
Absolutely. And that's a great example. Talk me through, how many albums do you have out right now? How many songs?
So professional studio recordings, I have 2 EPs, which are 5 songs each. And then I have a full album, which is 9 songs. So, yeah, my first one, I have them with me.
Okay, perfect. That's your very first album?
Yeah, it's called Favorite Mistakes.
All right, while you're on Favorite Mistakes, while you're on this album right here, can you just hold that up again one more time?
Sure.
Talk me through the imagery. Where did you get the picture from it, the idea, the concept, and what kind of music's on that?
Okay, so at the time, I don't know, I had no idea what I really wanted for my album cover. I didn't want my picture on it for some reason. And so because in one of my songs called Corner of My Eye, I say I picked a daisy. And so my graphic artist grabbed a daisy. I said, I picked a daisy to find out the truth. It said you love me, but it didn't say what to do. So the daisy came from that song.
Okay. And
so I had purple hair at the time.
So it had to match the hair. That's a good one. And reflecting back to that very first album, a lot of folks that have multi-albums out, they are their worst critic. When you look back at that album, do you look at it and pick it apart right away? Or do you see that as where you've kind of used that as a stepping stone to where you are?
The latter, really, because the thing is, I had been so new to even recording. I didn't know all the roads that you could go with it. I didn't really have, like, I'm going to be honest, like I didn't have a goal with it. I just knew that I these songs I had been singing and sharing for so long that they deserve to be recorded so that other people that like them could listen to them. They've become things that I still play today. And I think that the biggest thing about it was that it was so organic. The band that I had at the time, minus the guitar player that's on there, the guitar player that I have on there, I hired him, but the other people that were on there were people who played in my band.
Oh, wow.
And so we had such a great vibe. Like I mean, honestly, like, and they're still all my close friends today. Like, like after all that, they're like my bandmates for life. And we had such a great energy that came through in that album. And so honestly, are there things that I could have done differently? Yes, but I don't pick that one apart as much as I did the second one.
Okay. And we'll get into that. So this album here, is this up on Spotify as well? Or is this, okay. So folks can find that on Spotify. Yeah,
you can find me on Spotify, all streaming, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so this one is, and this was
what year was this?
This was, I can't believe I have to say this right now, but it was 2011.
Sorry, you're cutting out.
It was
winking. 2011. Okay, so let's talk about your next album. You wanted to have that with you?
I don't have a picture of that one. It's funny. Okay. I think my daughter has one in her room, but I don't get that one copied anymore. And
what's that called?
It was called Adventures, or it is called Adventures. That one is on Spotify. Like they're all online on Bandcamp, Spotify, like all that. and that's the full song or the full album. And I did that one. That one was a different project. I mean, it's weird because I've heard a lot of people say like the second album is always like you're trying so hard. And if I look back on that, I was like, yeah, I was trying too hard. It's a great album. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the music and the people,
Of
like
course.
the musicians that I had on it are top notch, like beautiful, like people from St. John, like Matthew Benoit, and like a young guy who lives in Nashville now, Aaron Curry. Also John Good, who's from St. John. He lives in Halifax now. And like, I had like Kelly Waterhouse did backups, and there was just all kinds of great stuff. So, but that was me flexing my 90s like Foo Fighters
Heck
kind
yeah.
of like that was my rock album. Like that is my rock album, and I still love a lot of those songs. And but it's completely different from the first one. It's almost like my albums are sandwiched. We'll talk about the other one, the most recent one after,
Yeah,
but like
of course.
that one was a different one, and a lot of people
How
still
come?
love those songs and listen to them, and they're getting added to playlists and stuff. But it's like if you go to see a Jaclyn Reinhart show now, they sound a little different than they did on the album.
Which is totally awesome. It's just your testament to who you are. You're always looking for ways to evolve and to change and to grow, right? That's
Yeah,
something
totally.
that I know you've said that to me a few years ago, where you said, if I'm doing the same show and if I'm doing the same song in the same way, then why am I doing it? You said something like that, I remember. And it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuck
yeah.
with me. Yeah. And
You gotta
so,
grow for
yeah,
sure.
you got to grow. Now, let's talk about your next album. When was it released? What's it about? I like the picture. I love the picture on that. I know
Thank
that girl.
you.
I know
Peter
her.
Doyle and Jessica Rae made me look really cool.
That is a great picture. So what's the name of the album?
So this is Sleep with Ghosts, and this is an EP as well. So there's 5 songs.
Is it called Sleep with Ghosts because it was COVID time? So that's all you really had? Like, when was it? How to talk me through the name?
Well, okay, Sleep with Ghosts is one of the songs. So that's the title track of the album. Sleep with Ghosts was actually written in 2018. So I was in Toronto for a couple of months, and I took a program called Canada's Music Incubator. So while I was there, we did a lot of co-writing and collaboration, and so we got to go to like the songwriting mothership of Canada, SOCAN. And I had a session or I had like the room for the whole day. But I had invited an old friend. His name's Tyler Lombard, and he was one of like the multiple people that came in to write with me that day. And we started talking about like dating and how frustrating it is, and like I don't like to be with somebody if I think that they're thinking about somebody else. And we were talking about how like people will just still stay, and I'm like, I'd rather be alone. And so the thing
Sure.
is one of the lines that I had written on the subway as I was there for 2 months, because I didn't have to drive. It was great. It was like going on the transit. Like everything took 45
I
minutes.
lived in Toronto. It was great. It was great. We
Right.
never took the car anywhere. I hear you.
I was like,
Absolutely.
no, I was not
Yeah.
driving in Toronto for 2 months.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it gave me a lot of time to write. So I had this lyric already made that said, I'd rather sleep with ghosts. Tyler started playing the guitar and came up with this melody, and all of a sudden just everything just went like, it literally was like, you were asking about songwriting and what the process is.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that was just magical. It just kind of came together. I
very
mean,
organically, like your other
yeah.
songs. Yeah.
and we worked on the lyrics over like a long period of time. Like that was 2018, and I didn't record the song until last year.
Mhm.
So we refined it and just kind of like got it where it needed to be. And so because I loved that song and the concept so much, the concept is about really understanding your worth
Okay.
and not putting up with people who do not respect where you're at. And if they're not on your page or on your level, then it's okay. I can love you, or I can care about you, or you are part of my life, but I'm moving on.
Absolutely.
So, and the whole album's about that. Like each song really kind of ties into that theme. Some of them are a little more angsty and some of them are a little more happy, but
Taylor Swift, she draws inspiration from ex-boyfriends and relationships. She talk to me about where do you draw that organic inspiration from?
so funny because I've been making the joke for years that I've been doing the Taylor Swift thing since before she was famous. Like she
It was
just
a
happened to
Jaclyn
get
Swift.
famous. She
Yeah.
ain't the only one. But she's amazing. I love Taylor Swift.
I know you
Like, I'm
do.
a
I know you
huge
do.
fan
You're a
of her
huge fan of
songwriting.
hers. I know you are.
And the thing is, I should
Y'all
cover
are.
one of her songs. I don't know why I'm not, but But that's the thing. It's like,
I'd love to hear, to cut you off, I'd love to hear you do Trouble. Oh, I think you would friggin' nail that next show.
I'm gonna write that
Trouble.
down
You would
for
nail
you.
that next show.
I actually love that song.
Yeah, you would nail
That
it.
one really fluctuates
It would
vocally.
with your voice, but with your vocals, I
People-
think it'd sound quite lovely.
On a side note, some people come down on Taylor Swift and say that she's not a good singer. And it's like, wait a minute, have you listened to her range? Like, she is actually an amazing singer. What Taylor Swift doesn't do is all these crazy runs and stuff. That's why people don't, like, they don't recognize her as like a Beyonce or something. But Taylor could do all that stuff. She just, anyway.
My favorite song that she does, because we better give Taylor a plug too, because just, you know, because she needs it, definitely. It'll help her. This will help skyrocket her career. No, but Exile. She does Exile. And it's also, if you follow the Netflix series You, it's it's the end song, I believe, in the third series. But Exile is a really good example of how she can really change her tone to something very serious. So yeah, absolutely.
But that being said, so in that vein of songwriters like us who really do like draw on experiences and those emotions, it's just about really digging in and being authentic to who you are and how you feel and not being afraid to express that.
But what about being relatable at the same sense?
Exactly, because a lot of people feel, all of us, it doesn't matter if you're a songwriter or a mom sitting at home with their kids, or, you know, a guy who's just went through a breakup or whatever. It doesn't matter who you are, what type of a relationship you've just had. If you're somebody who's had a feeling, then there's an authenticity there that, you know, people want to feel heard, but they also want to feel understood. Not everybody feels comfortable talking about their feelings, but they can hear a song that goes, okay, I'm not the only one. You know,
that was
it wasn't
written
just
for
me
me.
that felt like that. Yeah. And that's also one of my favorite compliments that I've got too. Like, I feel like that song was written just for me. I'm like, then I'm doing my job right, you know?
Right. And what artists, so talking on Taylor Swift and you, what artists would you say are most notably that you draw your inspiration from?
I'm a huge fan of Sheryl Crow, which is no surprise, and Tom Petty, but I also really, especially for this album, got listening to more things like Brandi Carlile and like Lizzie. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lizzie, but she's amazing. And like Morgan Page and some of these artists, and Amy Mann even, they might not all translate into my sound, but like drawing inspiration from them and just the craft of how they put together songs and things like that. But you know, I'm pretty simplistic in my writing, and I think that that's what helps me connect with people more. It's like, you know, there's a way to speak in a tone that is very relatable without getting like super wordy, but also being a little whimsical too. You know, I'd rather sleep with ghosts.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is something that folks that are watching right now would be surprised to learn about you or to know?
That I don't have any tattoos. Although I do have henna right now. I just got it yesterday.
Oh, I do like that. That looks lovely. That looks really
it's
pretty.
Gonna darken even more too. Maybe I will get some tattoos, but everybody's always surprised. But I'm actually planning my first tattoo.
What are you thinking of getting? A Port City Personalities one?
Yeah. PCP.
Nope. No,
I don't think I'll do that. Actually, I'm thinking of getting Jessica Ray and Peter Doyle did some artwork for me. So Peter took the photos, and then Jessica did a lot of the graphic. She did all the graphic work on this album, and
she's incredible, isn't she?
Just like so wonderful how her eye can just translate anything into something that's just so visually appeasing. And there's these birds that are on one of the single cover art, so it's for Takes a Little Time. Those two birds I'm thinking about getting on my arm, just so that you can see them when I'm playing, and it will represent my album. It'll represent that song, and also just the freedom and feathers. I used to wear a lot of feathers, and so I think that that's going to be the one. Don't quote me on it. I'm still thinking.
Too late. I already wrote it down.
Okay. So we'll see. I got to find a good tattoo artist in town. So send me your suggestions.
we have a few. And so thank you so much for that. And let's talk more about the most current album. What's it been like releasing an album pre-COVID? So actually, when I think back now, the night before we went into lockdown, myself and some other folks, we were getting nominated for an award thing in a ladies with business, and you were performing there for all the ladies, and you were sounding fantastic for everybody opening up. Our mutual friend James was doing some stand-up comedy in addition to that, celebrating all of the hardworking women out there and recognizing some of the great accomplishments that these ladies had. And it was very important to you. And I know it was very emotional night, and we were going into lockdown. And I remember we all were kind of like, what's it going to be like being home for the next week? And we're like, how are we going to do that? Staying home for a week. That was the night right before we went into lockdown. I remember now. And then all of a sudden we're, fast forward to 2 years later. Now I know you, and I know you're hyper. And so you were probably still writing, and you and I had lunch since and talked about it. But talk to me about what it's been like writing during COVID, getting your stuff out there. And were you delayed at all in getting anything out? Like Top Gun, we learned should have been out almost 2 years sooner, but they were delaying it quite a bit. Talk to me about that.
Well, so that March, as we were doing this, I had just launched a crowdfunding campaign to help pay for like more expenses for my album, which I reached my goal, which was really crazy. That was the beginning of it. I almost didn't make this album. Just to go back a little bit further, January, I was like, I almost threw in the towel as being an artist, period. Like
Wow.
I was ready to be done, in a sense, but something, told me that wasn't the best idea. And so I had a conversation with my friend Nicole, who's also the program director for the grants for Music New Brunswick through tourism and culture for New Brunswick. And she's become just a confident and wonderful person. So I have to give her a plug, because if I had not have had that conversation with her, I don't know where the next one would have come from. So I'm glad that I did, because she convinced me, or not convinced me, but she showed me a mirror with my worth. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I got to keep doing this. So I did. And so I was like, well, how am I going to make this happen? So I threw together, not threw together, I planned a crowdfunding campaign, launched it February the 24th. Then you know what happened. So I was doing it for 4 weeks. I had seen you in the middle of that time. I think it was around the 17th that we did that event of March. All of a sudden, lockdown, everything. I ended up finishing my crowdfunding campaign at like 107%, thankfully, to everybody who helped with that, plus the help of Music New Brunswick and the government of New Brunswick. So, and then whatever out of my own pocket. But the thing is that was the moment that I was like, okay, I've already got all these plans. I was supposed to start recording in May, and there's all this stuff. I was planning on launching it in the fall of 2020. Like that was where we were going to be at. And of course, then everything changed. So even getting into the studio was challenging, and things kept getting delayed. And then, things kind of opened up a little bit more in the summer. So we were able to get a few more things done, but it became very much piecework. So I think the last vocal that went on the album was actually in like February or March of 2021.
Okay.
And then we finished everything up, and, then I was able to launch it in October of 2021. But really, I mean, it was a long time coming, and it was a lot of,
Heck yeah.
hurry up and wait kind of stuff. And then even with the launch of the album, to factor that in, shows, I had, nobody really knows this, but I didn't end up doing a release show in St. John.
Wow.
I've toured in Ontario. I did release shows in Ontario, nothing in St. John. I did one in Fredericton. Couldn't seem to get a date in Moncton. There was really not really a lot of venues happening. St. John, I was going to do it at the Imperial. That just wasn't working out, especially financially. It was too much. Or there was too, like, I mean, as much as I'd love to play that stage, it's like, maybe when I've got a little bigger profile or something.
Can you call your next time you're at Imperial? Can you call it Hurry Up and Wait? Can you call that?
Yeah, that'll be it.
I like it.
And then with some of the smaller theaters, like there was still too many restrictions for too many people to be in
Of
there.
course.
And it was just
rescheduling. And we had a good conversation. We a couple of episodes now, the process of having your show, scheduling it, having upcoming shows at any of the public events, scheduling, rescheduling, and the whole crazy process that it's been. So absolutely,
so it was
that's
extremely
totally relatable.
difficult.
Mm.
So, well, I ended up sort of solving that in a sense this March that just went by. I just put on my own show and I did a live stream from the Sanctuary Theater and it was incredible. Actually, I mean, I have to send you that.
Please
Um,
do. Please do.
but it was, so that was was it a launch? Kind of, not really. We did some live music videos for some of my songs and stuff like that. But the whole show is like, it was like an interview style. We had like a host and everything,
I love
and
it. I
it
love
was
it.
fun.
That's beautiful.
But for St. John, I didn't really get to do that. So, but that's okay because I've been playing lots in St. John. But
Yeah. And you're a hustler anyway. You're always going because for you, music is about making a difference in folks' lives. And for you, it's not just about expression. It's not just about the art itself to you, but it's about enriching other folks' lives. I know this, but anybody that's watching right now, talk to them about this for you. Why is this important to you?
well, when you're thinking about why you do something, a lot of people, I don't know if you probably have, you know, listened to other coaches, or if you listen to like Brene Brown, or you listen to like any of those, like, or like Anthony, what's his name there?
Fauci? Nope, that's
No,
not a coach.
Tony Robbins. I don't know where that went. Anyway, Anthony. I don't know where that came from. Because I like people's full names.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So the thing is that like they're always talking about your why. What's your why? Why are you doing this?
Sure.
I've done a lot of soul searching on like, why do I pick up the phone and book a gig? Why am I saying yes to things? Why am I, getting on stages? Why am I making albums? Why am I doing all this? Why? Well, it's fun. It's not always easy. It's definitely a lot of work, but why do I do it? And I'm like, I kept saying for a long time, like, I don't know. And finally, I realized that it's because I love to connect with people.
Of course you
And
do. I could have told you that. That's such a given. You're so good at it. You love relating, connecting, and helping them, which I think is so
exactly,
phenomenal.
I am the first one to, like, I'd give you the shirt off my back. Like, I'm the first one to help people, which gets me in trouble sometimes, but I probably won't change anytime soon.
Is it
Like,
because you're not wearing the shirt you've given off your back?
sometimes. Oh my goodness. But it's interesting because, like, I think that's where I came from. My dad was a salesman. He was always very outgoing and he loves people, and he's just one of those people that loves to connect. He just didn't do it with music. I found a home in music. So it doesn't matter what it was that I was going to land in. I just love to connect
Sure.
with people. So that's great. Like, I love making people laugh on stage. I have funny jokes. Nobody'd hire me as a comedian, but I can get a laugh out of a crowd. And, and that's a connection. You make somebody laugh, I don't have to tell you. That's your whole lot in life, is that you're a connector too. And I feel like that's what drives me. It's like getting to know somebody else, getting to know their journey, also getting better myself and whatever. Like, it's all part and parcel of the journey of connecting with people. And I just happen to do it with songwriting and performing.
And so talk to me about the lyrics. So has there been a time in your career where you've, other than when you were about to throw in the towel, which thankfully you didn't, but where you've gotten the writer's block, or has there been a time other than COVID that you've begun a project such as songwriting, or is there many songs that we've never got the chance to see? Is there, like, and why can't we see those ones?
Yeah.
Hear
I do.
those
I
ones,
do have
sorry.
a catalog of songs that have not been released. I have one that I performed that I've never recorded,
Okay.
but it just never found a home on an album. So maybe someday.
Yeah.
And I have quite a few co-writes that are irons in the fire that are kind of done, but I just haven't. Honestly, I've been almost too busy. Like, and I've already told, like, my band that after July 31st, we're going to take a little break after that show for
Yeah.
Area 506. And
Yeah.
we're just going to, like, I need to write. But then, the phone calls keep coming in, and the people are like, now that I'm just kind of like, out there and the fire is burning, I'm like, well, but so I'd say right now it's not even writer's block, it's time block. But there has been a time, in the past where sometimes I was just so depressed.
No, that's
Like,
that. Thank you. Yeah, people need to hear that. Yes.
yeah, there was a few years ago, probably about 7 years ago, I was in a really abusive relationship, like an emotionally abusive relationship where it turned physical, where he bruised me. And, the thing is, and I wrote about that, but it took me some time, because I didn't realize until looking back just how on the ground I was, how I was just like, I you don't realize it because that it takes some time to heal, and like as much as you want to open up about it, you can't. It's you have to like almost process it, like there's almost like an embarrassment or something there that, writing about it. And then finally, once I was able to open up about it more, actually, I did write about it right off. I did write about it like after I left that relationship, because weird that I got chosen to be in the Canadian Song Challenge, and Andy Brown and I, who's Aiden Towns, we went to a writing retreat in Bathurst for Music New Brunswick for the Canadian Song Challenge. And we ended up talking about that experience, and it became Last Disaster. It became one of my songs. That was really early on, but it didn't get released until this. That was 2016. This didn't get released until 2021.
Right.
So it takes a long time, like, to be able to present that stuff and to be vulnerable with people and be like, should I be sharing this? Like, there's been moments in the middle of my performance where in my head I'm like, man, am I saying this to a bunch of people? Like, like,
Right.
what am I
Right.
doing?
But you're so vulnerable, right, at that time. So, and I think that that's true testament to the art form, is where you're taking something and you in anything and entertaining, you're putting it out there, comedy,
Yeah.
music, anything. And once it's out there, it's out there. And so
Yeah.
was there just like kind of a delay, like, or was there kind of or was your moment like, oh my gosh, I processed this, I'm going through it right now, but I'm going through it with everybody collectively. Like what was
Right.
in your head?
Yeah. Well, but that's just it. I think that for me, because of COVID, because of the delay, it
Right.
gave me more time to sit with some of these songs. And actually, a couple of them were completely rewritten before they even went on the album. The two of the songs on my album were completely different songs before I went into the studio.
Right.
Like it was, I demoed them with the boys, and then it's funny because they're different now, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is not the same song anymore. And they're like, wow. The thing is that it gave me some time to really sit with them, and really, like, the minute that you know that you're going to make this public, right, that you're going to share this with
Yes.
other humans that are not
Yes.
close to you, that you trust. Not that I don't trust my audience, but like, you know, like, I don't know, I don't even know who some of my audience is going to be, and I'm still building. Like, I'm always building, and they, it just kind of, it happens. So before I was ready to launch it into the world, I had so much time to reflect and be like, okay, are these the things that I want to say? Hence why some of them became rewrites.
Okay.
Or even like Sleep with Ghosts. A week before I went in to record the vocals to that, I messaged Tyler. I'm like, Tyler, I got a couple other lyrics that I want to use here. We went through and went, and he was like, no, like, that's great. Or we reworked them just a little bit, just to really fine tune how we wanted to say what we wanted to say, or how I wanted to say what I wanted to say. So yeah, that process is really, it's very vulnerable, and but you have to rip the Band-Aid off at some point. You're like, the thing is that a lot of people do go through the exact same things. Hopefully they don't have to go through the really bad stuff that I went through, but some people have. That's the reality. And if that's something that's going to help them, then yeah, let it out to the world,
Yeah. So when you talk about writing and rewriting and adding, what's making you do this? Is it because you've had a better thought? Is it because one of the things you put out there, you were still, talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's because, it's like writing a speech even, or it's like writing a comedy act, right? You're just refining some of those things. Does that word need to be in there? Does this phonetically sound good when I'm on a microphone, when I'm up close to, things like that? So you're really thinking of the end product at that point, and it's like, are some of these things, how do I tighten this up so that my message doesn't get muddied? Because some people, like, well, not every singer, but like less is actually more a lot of the times, not all the time, because I love Nicki Minaj and I wish that I could rap like her, but you know what I mean? Like, she's got a lot of words.
Yeah.
But when you pull back some things that might not need to be there, it actually opens things up, because you also like want to share your experience, but like you said, in connecting with people, you want to make sure that it's relatable. So how does my experience become a little more well-rounded, in the sense that how do I make it so that it's open to your interpretation? Because Dave Grohl also says something amazing. He goes, I may sing one song to 50,000 people and they're all going to sing it back to me for 50,000 different reasons. That's the beauty of being a songwriter that's able to write songs that people are like, that was for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about all of the songs that you've written, what is your favorite, and is your favorite song the favorite of the crowd or your audience? I know that's a tough one.
It's been so cool seeing how much people love the new album. They liked other songs from my other stuff. But the new album definitely grabs people's attention. Like, I love when I'm playing, even if I'm playing an acoustic gig and I'm playing Takes a Little Time is one of my favorites. It is really about embracing who you are and, you know, knowing that it takes time to heal, but having that like outlook of like, I'm going to be okay. I'm okay. And I'm being more okay all the time. And it's like really poppy and like, finally I have defined. And then people are like bopping their heads and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And that song means so much to me because it was about me accepting myself, accepting that I'm not a 20-year-old anymore, that I'm overweight, that I'm a single mom who lives on the East Coast, who's been through an abusive relationship, who's had to start over a million times, who's cut off bad relationships with people to finally just be authentically who I am. Yeah, that's my favorite song.
Yeah, that and that's so true testament to who your character is. And I think we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to get into now some upcoming shows. You talked about 506. What is that?
So depending on when this airs, well, 506 is a very prestigious festival.
Or yeah, you may have already performed at 506. I mean,
506 is July the 31st for me, but it starts on the 29th, July 29th. And so they have like a great roster of like some really amazing bands like JJ Wild, which I am so excited for, and like Sloan. And I'm actually on the night with the Arkells and Mother.
Ooh.
And I'm just so pumped, but also some of my buddies like Aiden Towns, who's actually somebody that I wrote with, and like McKinley Morrison, and just like some local people that were on the bill. And then, you know, it's so great because Area 506 has been working so hard. Like, they have built a profile in this city that is putting us on the map. The fact that I get to play this year's festival is just such an honor, and I feel like it's so special. And it's also like, it's a point of pride for all the hard work that I've done, because, you know, getting to play on that stage to crowds that are coming there to be a part of 506 that may have never heard of me, I get to present my art to, which is fun.
It's a whole new platform. It's such a great one. And is this your first time playing at 506?
Yeah. So
this is going to be
really
so special.
Like, it really, really is. And my band is so excited about it too. You know, like, you know, the people that I have playing with me who are incredible musicians. Like, I'm still actually waiting on Chuck T to confirm. So we'll see, like, cause he was just looking at his schedule. He might be out, but I mean, Chuck, I'm like, you know, like if he just walks on there, like he could
Chuck is another Kevin Bacon of St. John. What I love about Chuck, since we're giving him a name plug, is whenever you need anything in the city, he's not just there, but he doesn't just show up to something or help, but he's so community oriented. It's just so fabulous. I remember we had a mother reach out that was looking for, she was needing some assistance starting up with the place. And immediately he said, how can I help? What can I bring? And just immediately he gathered a bunch of friends and brought a whole truckload of stuff right off to help out. Cause that's just the guy that Chuck is. When you talk about somebody that would give the shirt off their back, he's another one of them. He's so good in the community. He cares so much about St. John. He's so passionate about what he does, and he cares so much about people, even because there's no stranger. Like, there's no stranger. It's just, how can I help in my community? And it's just true testament to his overall character stature, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that I had a different bass player before, and they quit, and then I was like, message Chuck, and within 5 minutes he was 98% confirmed, and then all of a sudden confirmed within like an hour or so. He just had to ask his wife if the dates were okay, and he's been coming to rehearsals. And I'm telling you, like, I mean, he's like, I hire people as as hired guns, but I'll
Sure.
call them my band because,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. But I'll take Chuck for as many shows as possible.
Oh,
So, but he
yeah.
is in fact playing with me for Canada Day in Fredericton, so July the 1st, and Huey Lord, who is incredible.
Yes.
But
Yes.
and
Yes.
then I've also got like my regular guys, Sebastian and Andrew, who are like amazing and just so committed to me, and so like, oh, I'm so relieved to have them with me. But then Sebastian's wife's also doing like backup and some percussion, and like we are just having like the best time. Like I can't wait. I just want to play all the shows. I just wish we could.
That's
just
what I was gonna
play
say. I
all
know
the
you
shows.
are, because you don't just play and perform. You go all in, guns a blazing, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just really.
No,
It's
what we
really
do.
nice to see you because you'll really pop up anywhere, and it's just so. And 506, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for you to be able to show off like all of your new material. And I'm super pumped for the folks that are going to be able to have the opportunity to see you from
Yeah.
that kind of level, from that kind of stage, from that kind of environment. I'd had the opportunity to do 506 in 2017
Oh yeah.
as part of Fundy Fringe, who is, as you know, they're great in St. John. They promote, they help the arts at a whole new level, and the hard work and dedication from their staff and volunteers that go into any of the many projects that they do is phenomenal. So we'd released an album, Educated Assholes, and
Oh right.
yeah, with a friend of mine, Joe Nixon, and we recorded with Corey Bonnevie, who I know you know, and we had the opportunity to perform there, and it was just so nice at a whole new level of having the folks there performing right on the water, having the
Yeah.
feel, the sense, the smell, the art, everything. It's just a whole new thing. You can't even describe it. And talk to me a little bit about what folks can expect to see at 506 from you. Will we be covering all stuff? How many songs will you cover? Old, new?
Oh.
Is there any surprises? Anything that we can know about? Oh wait, and if this already aired by then, that was a phenomenal performance.
Hopefully it is. But I mean, I guess we got like a month or something from this date. But so really I'm playing a lot of my own songs, of course, but I'm gonna pay some respects to some artists that inspired me. So the surprise is there is one song that might have something to do with why I named this album Favorite Mistakes. That's your hint.
That's a good hint. And what about other shows? Is there anybody that is watching right now, Jaclyn Reinhart, how could people book you? And talk about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got lots of acoustic shows. Like that's easy for me to do because then I don't have to worry about other people's schedules, just my own. So I pop up all around all the time. I am doing some solo stuff for the Downtown Music Festival in Miramichi, which is in September. I have some tentative dates booked in Ontario in the fall, and some other things around the province, and just hoping to confirm some more things. Again, scheduling. And then, but throughout the summer, you know, I'm doing some stuff with the Boardwalk because those are always near and dear to my heart. They're, you know, I pop up to the Boardwalk, get to play to people that I love, you know, lots of fans that are part of the city vibe. I've been at Pub Down Under, or the Uptown Pub Down Under, a lot lately. That's become a little home for me.
Love that place. So beautiful venue. Beautiful.
I'll give you a little secret. So with that one, that's where I like to try out new songs. So if anybody has requests, which I'm going to try Trouble for you. So
I need to hear that. Night. Yeah. You tell me when is that?
I've been playing a lot of Sunday nights, not every Sunday night.
But I will come by to hear you talk Trouble.
Yeah. So if you guys ever want to find out anything about what I'm doing, you can check my website. It's JacquelineReinhartOfficial.com. Check my socials. The socials always have something going on. So at Jacqueline Reinhart Music for Instagram and Facebook. Twitter, I'm not really. Twitter's weird. I'm like, I don't understand. I think that's just for people who have private stories who want to talk crap about other people.
Right.
I don't really use
You're not
Twitter
a tweeter.
too much.
No, you're not a tweetologist. Okay?
No, not at all. I find it kind of weird. I have never got behind Twitter anyway. No offense to anybody who uses Twitter, except for people who talk crap about other people. Like, find something else to do. But my main things are like Facebook, Instagram, and I do some TikToks. I'm just Jacqueline _Reinhart on TikTok.
But how could somebody book you for a show?
Well, you can send me a message, JacquelineReinhart@gmail.com. Very easy. And I have a contact page on my website as well. So if you'd like to book, I mean, you just give me the particulars. I'll let you know if it makes sense for me. I have 3 criteria to book a gig.
Okay.
So I'll let you know what they are if you like, but
Okay. Yes. What are they?
oh, well, it either has to be financially profitable.
Yes.
I
of
have
course.
I have to want to do it,
Yes.
or it has to be career building. And
Okay.
if it's a charity, though, I will do a couple of charity events a year just because I like to give back. That's something. So please don't be afraid. If you don't have a budget, please talk to me, because again, if it hits the I want to do it, we'll talk.
Yep.
But those are the types of things, because we're all busy. I love to perform, but it's also a very professional part of my life. So I just need to make sure that it hits all the boxes. But yeah, no, I'd love to chat with anybody that wants to give it a go.
And what does the booking process look like for you? So is it just to send an email off with what the request is, Jacqueline, or?
Yeah, you tell me, what's the event? What's it all about? And what are the times? And then we'll talk dollars and cents, and we'll talk about what the things are that I need to show up and things like that, because I find that it's wonderful to want to get booked, but one thing that people should know before they approach an artist is that there actually is a value to what we do. And asking people to perform for free, although it happens, it doesn't serve other artists to always take things for free or for less than you're worth all the time, because it's a lot of work. I put a lot of money and time into what I do, and so do all the other artists. So just respect that as you're looking. And if I say no, it's not because, maybe it just doesn't work out, and it doesn't mean anything bad, and maybe there's somebody else that's better suited to. And I've said that to people before, like, you know what, maybe somebody else would be better suited to this, but thank you for thinking of me. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But yeah, I think it's important to remember that we lug a lot of gear. We take lessons. We spend a lot of time on marketing and promoting ourselves and the writing process. And I didn't get to be this way to walk in and play a 2-hour set without blinking, without all the other work that's went over a lot of years. So it's the same with any form of art, whether you're a painter or if you're a poet or a comedian or anything, right? So just to keep that in mind, because I think it's something that people don't talk about a whole lot, and they think, oh, musicians, we just love to play, so we're going to do it for free. Well, there's a point where you start doing that, but there's also a point where you transition.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for joining us today. Everyone that has watched today, thank you so much. You got to enjoy Jacqueline talking about past events, upcoming events, the writing process. And also we heard from Katelyn talking about her business and how to book. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again. Can't wait to see you out in the community.